In this movie, we talk about CSS comments. Now, CSS comments are a pretty handy little thing that we can use with CSS to make our lives a little bit easier. Now, CSS comments are a lot like HTML comments in that we're going to be able to write in something and then place it inside of these comments, and the browser is going to skip over that section and just ignore it. So our CSS comments are going to be made either single line or multi-line comments with the / and then the comment, and then finished up with an * at the end. Now we can place these CSS comments inside of our style block anywhere that we want. We can also place these comments inside of a rule to explain the purpose of some rules, or to disable a certain area of that rule. As you can imagine, that's a pretty powerful and pretty cool thing to be able to do. Now, our utility for CSS comments will not end there, because we can also use those comments to help organize the rules in our sheets based on the purpose of those rules. And that's actually a pretty handy thing to do, because it allows us to break down and see what some of the common elements are going to be using for properties and values. Comments are also going to allow us to test certain styles, because it will allow us to disable styles and, as I mentioned before, disable certain aspects of a style. So they are very handy for checking to see what the effect is of a particular style on our element is. So CSS comments are very handy, and they're actually pretty easy to implement. So let's go ahead and jump over to our sandbox and take a look at how we can do that. And what I want to do with the HTML document here is I want to jump inside of here, and I want to put in a comment right above the body here. And I want to say a demonstration about inheritance. Now, when we place comments like that into our CSS, these comments are more or less for us or for other people so that they know what we were trying to achieve. Of course, once you get into doing some pretty tricky things with CSS, you might need to leave a note about what that specific rule is doing. Now, we also have where we can set up our different sections to help organize our documents. I'm going to create some space here and then set up some comments here to talk about the different things that we can end up doing. So I would do color, and that would be my color section. And then I'll do one for typography. Follow that up with box model manipulations. And then different layouts. And then lastly, using CSS to control images. Of course, each one of these sections will have a number of different styles, so I'll go ahead and create some space here so that I know where the section ends and where it begins. So what I would end up doing is I would actually end up taking these rules that I've created up here, and I would cut them and then paste them into my color section. You may also find it handy to indent those over a little bit so that they're actually inside of that particular section of our organization. And then the last use for our CSS comments is to comment something out. So I'm going to go ahead and comment out this rule that's controlling the color of the body text. So I'll go ahead and save that. And I'll jump back over here and I'll refresh. And I'll see that the red is now removed from all the children of the body tag. So those are the most common uses for comments, and as you can see, these are pretty handy, and you'll probably want to leverage these throughout a lot of different things you'll do with CSS. On a side note, some browsers will actually allow you to use another style of comment here, and it's the double /. However, that's not across the board, and that's not part of the official specification, but some browsers will allow you to do that. In my book, what you should do is you should continue to play it safe and just use what's supported across all browsers. Now that concludes this look at CSS comments. So let's go ahead and jump back into the topic of CSS placement.